you do see Charles doing that. What he's doing is the right thing to be doing, talking directly to the legislators, the people who are going to be writing those laws and educating them. And he's put together an office to work towards that. And I'm excited, and I will probably, try to participate as much as I can in that regard.
How do you go about really trying to have any kind of effect, any kind of influence on any of this lawmaking?
It's really beyond our bandwidth at this time to try and influence policy. But you do see Charles doing that. What he's doing is the right thing to be doing, talking directly to the legislators, the people who are going to be writing those laws and educating them. And he's put together an office to work towards that. And I'm excited, and I will probably, try to participate as much as I can in that regard. But just as us, as USDM, the best that we can do is talk to the actual paper pushers that we have to interact with. And first of all, set our own standards high, so that when they come back and they ask for the extra paperwork, the documents and stuff like that, we're on top of it. It's evident that we know what we're doing. And then when other businesses come forward and are starting things, then they will be familiar with what it should look like and the right way to do things. And we kind of are hoping to set the expectation high in the industry, both just for Cardano, for crypto. The crypto industry does not have the best reputation, and that's something that we all collectively need to work to fight against and to reframe the story so that we can be like respected as a regulated entity.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It is not an easy task. I feel your pain because we did the same thing with Palm and Palmyra, and yeah, it's a very slow moving thing, but you have to do it. Now, I want to touch a little bit on adoption. Maybe James, maybe you can elaborate on this a little bit. So, I mean, I know you have to know. You're in the community that there is this, factions. We need to bring USDC on the chain. We need to bring USDT on chain. No, we got USDM. No, we got JED. I mean, and I mean, some have a point, or in different kind of in different segments they have a point. But you are the kind of the premier stable coin on Cardano right now. So how do you drive that adoption on Cardano of stables? Because that's that's for many that's like a pain point. We don't have solid stables on Cardano. What do you mean? We have ESDM. You have then that's one of several. So how do you kind of bring that to the people where they, where they utilize it more, where they feel like they're backed by it, like they can hedge with it? How do you do that?
I think first and foremost is education. All right. So you need to help the end user in order to be able to understand that it's a very daunting experience to think that I'm going to do all of this on my own. Typically you allow banks, you allow, money managers, things of that nature. You'll talk to somebody that shows you a chart. This is where you're going to be, and this is where you're going to end up when you're 60. And this is how much you're going to need to save in order to do that. And so we tend to let other people kind of manage that for us. In blockchain, it's a little different, right? So we have the ability to make these decisions on ourselves. This also means that we need to start doing a lot of research and looking into it a little bit more. The problem with it is in some cases we get information that isn't necessarily the best. We're not seeing good ideas or good advice as to what to do. And there's a lot of influencers currently, self-appointed, let's say, that have made their way into our space, and because they're early, I suppose, and from there are giving bad information, and or let's say just not as good information as they should be getting. So I currently think that education is going to be the key component here, and the other part of that is the simplicity within all the UI UX that for every dApp that's currently on here. I propose to everybody, instead of thinking like a developer, instead of thinking like a nerd who just thinks about, well, this is logically the way it should go, they should then start to think, well, how would people illogically handle this? How would they interact with this thing? And what kind of mistakes would they make along the way? And make it much easier, make it much more tactile, where, a perfect example is something where you press a button in the beginning to start a transaction, and there's nothing visually indicating that something's happening. And when I talk to my developer, I'm like, we're going to need something there that shows that something's actually happening. He goes, why would we need that? You just press the button, and then they should know that it's going okay. And I'm like, no, that's not going to happen, because most people are not developers. They don't have the screen running to the right showing what's happening on the dApp as it's happening. And they're just waiting for some sort of next thing to happen. And they're going to need an indicator. That then makes them feel comfortable that they're in the space. Why? Because they're in something that's entirely new. They've heard a bunch of people have been ripped off or robbed from it, and they are nervous. So you need to give them a little bit of an indication and help and understanding, and go that extra mile in order to make sure that they feel comfortable. And I think that's probably one of the more important things that we can do. So when talking to developers, anybody that's working and building a dApp, talking about those things that they're doing, one is business acumen. Most are developers. They don't have a lot of business acumen, and or they've only been in business for a short period of time. And you need to kind of help them understand what it means to think past 6 months or a year, and start to think 2 to 5 year, and what you're planning on doing there, right? Then from there, you'll start to help your UI UX guys develop something that is much easier to understand. Give them a slide bar that says, this is how much risk I'm willing to take. And then I want to put this much risk in, and this is how much I'm willing to invest. Here is my actual understanding of blockchain. I have 1 year's worth of blockchain. What is your intent for coming into blockchain and going into DeFi? Are you thinking meme coins, or are you thinking long-term generational wealth? What's the variance between that? And then just start them on the journey. And then from there, the rest of it, I think, for those who are interested in being self-sovereign, will then start to go down the rabbit holes and figure out for themselves what works best, right? So to me personally, that's probably one of the key things that I do with everybody that I work with. And then on top of that, ensure that USDM is placed. We want brand awareness within USDM. That's extraordinarily important within our community. And also, most everybody knows that we're in this for the community part of it. We're a community-driven project and by community members, and we have nothing but the best intentions for Cardano and everybody that's in it.